Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Last time on Stafford Case, we were investigating. For some reason, it's always just 3 employees. And we came to the conclusion that there really isn't anyone else who could have done this other than Liza Moko. Hey, food time besties, beasties. It's been a while since I filmed last, so I don't remember the voices. You like that? Is it tasty? Why is it that most reptiles eat bugs? Quiet down. I told you I'd feed you later. You ate twice your share yesterday. Aren't you full? That is heckin' sus, Liza. We've got people from the Bureau roaming the halls. No good would come from a big guy like you running around. If you were caught, you and I both. What would happen exactly? Well, I guess it depends on how you all are viewing me. And that depends on what you say from now on, though it may be of no use. Is that the creature the reptile wings bred for the military? Yes, and what's it normally eat? We normally buy up all the bits the slaughterhouse throw out at a low price. Well then, seems like it wouldn't object to a nice meaty snack. Good. I see what's going on. However, like I said before, what's possible for me is possible for that tosser Hawes too. No, that's not true. What's that? No, I told you. When Mr. Haas was controlling his creature, he wasn't in the lounge. He was in the mammal wing instead. If you think about the range of Haas's skill, he couldn't have sent his creature to the crime scene. The only one who could have done that is you, Miss Moko. It would be good for you to just confess. I'm not threatening you, but truly continuing to make excuses is unlikely to change the conclusion we've reached. If you're claiming this lizard could have eaten Mr. Thompson, you're right. Got her. However, I didn't mean for it to do that. What do you mean? You're the only one who can control reptiles. I'm not saying Hawes did it. It's just... it was an accident. She's right. That certainly changes things. Well then, shall we hear what she has to say? Yesterday at noon, I went to the lounge as usual. Then I used my skill on this creature in the reptile wing. I'm sure I sent it to eat at the feeding room to my left, looking in. No. Okay, who is the second in command, the one that can switch? Because the fact she says she sent it to the room to the left, if he moved her into the other room, that would have been the middle one. I think I was right. And I didn't step foot outside the lounge until around 12:20, because all the rooms looked the fucking same. She wouldn't have been able to tell which lounge she was in. When I did leave the lounge around 12:30, wouldn't you know, my creature was in the office. I have no idea how it happened, but by the time I figured it out, Mr. Thompson had already crossed Rainbow Bridge. I knew you'd all suspect me from the crime. So I played dumb and acted like my visit to the office at 1 was my first. Why didn't you tell us this from the start? Would you have believed me if I had? No, honestly, I'm having a hard time believing you now. See? It's not enough to be shouting about, though. Even though you claim it was an accident, you tried to pin it on Hawes, didn't you? Regardless, Mr. Thompson's death was an accident, though it was, of course, due to negligence on my part. I'm not a killer. Sergeant, what happens in a case like this? If it truly was an accident, the sentence will be lighter than if it were a murder. Moko will probably only be held in a general internment camp for a few months. That's presuming it really was an accident. Indeed, that is the problem. Moko could be lying to get off with a lighter punishment, right? Thus, it's our job now to figure out if it was or wasn't an accident. The incident was caused by a skill, so can we actually figure that out? We can't be sure just yet, but if Moko is lying, there's a good possibility that there's something fishy in her statement. We have no choice but to sniff out what that might be. If there's something off about the statement she just gave, no matter how small, if there's something that contradicts the information we've collected thus far. She sent it to the room to the left. That's my thing that I'm looking at. Okay. I'm sure I sent it to the room to the left. Room to the left would have been lounge number 2. That's not it? Hold on. Oh, okay. So I think I'm right there. Oh, I think it's this. Went to the lounge as usual. Because they honestly look like this. Actually, they look a little bit different. Okay. Hold on. What am I missing? Like, the only clue is the fact that we have the fingerprints. Okay, there we go. Oh, it's the dates. Miss Moko, you said you didn't step foot outside the lounge? Right, not one toe. Hey, note. She might be telling the truth. I remember not sensing any oddities in her heartbeat at the time. Yes, I'm well aware. If that's the case, how do you explain this? We have evidence of you leaving that room. Excuse me? We searched the second lounge originally meant for Mr. Hawes, and we found your fingerprints, Miss Moko. Thana, what time were those left? Let's see here. They overlap with the creature's feeding time, no? If that's true... Miss Moko, when did you enter lounge number 2? What are you talking about? I never went in there. I didn't even know what the inside of that room looked like. Has there been some sort of mistake? And then, Miss Moko, you claim you were in number 1 lounge the whole time. That's what I told you. Well then, can you tell us what you were doing in there? What I do every day, read my book. Come to think of it, I didn't see the picture that's normally in there, so I looked for it under the table. I thought it might have fallen off. That's also rather odd. Excuse me? Because according to our investigation, things couldn't have happened like that. Right, according to our info. It was, in fact, Beck who did it. Hold on. Lounge 1 has it. Is it the... I don't think that's right. Oh! Dang. I was right. Hey. Miss Moko, regarding the photo you're referring to, you talking about the one on the table, the one with young Mr. Beck and the victim? Yes, that's right. From what I've heard, it's a picture taken of the Woods founding members. Oh, but I counted about 10 people in that picture. Seems as though your team was a lot bigger back then. A while back, there was a conflict regarding which direction we would take the facility, and most of the founding members left. That's how the vice president tells it. Wait, there's something more important I want to know. Why do you say I was lying? I never said you were lying. I just said something is off. Miss Moko, you said that the picture was missing and that you looked for it, but that picture frame has stood right where it's been for a long, long time. What? How can you tell? Once you've been investigating as long as we have, you can tell by the amount of dust that's settled on and around the picture. But you're getting pretty good at dancing around the subject. You figured that out from the memory survey, huh? I mean, it's about time I got good. As the person on scene investigating the picture, I can say for certain that picture frame hasn't moved for at least a week. But that puts us in an awkward position. What? Are you sure you didn't just screw up your investigation? I'm sure that's how it went that day. Wait a second. Now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I misread the whole situation. Why the sudden change of heart? I just remembered something. When I was leaving the room, I looked back toward the table. It was there. The picture was there on the table. What's going on here? I'm not making any sense. How would you ever believe me? Am I going crazy? Is that why that day the creature went to Mr. Thompson's office? Did I do that to him? That's it. It's going to be hard to get any more information from Ms. Moko. No, I don't know why, but it doesn't seem like she's lying to me. Thana, I know you're good at reading people, but I don't think you could judge what's true on that alone. But like I just said, logically speaking, a lot of things just don't make sense. Even if we take her statement as true, I don't see much going for Moko. And most importantly, Miss Moko could commit the crime from Lounge 1 where she was at. She had no reason to move around. Ah, you're right. However, we have clear proof that Miss Moko was in Lounge number 2, yet she denies it. Even though she has no reason to deny it. What if she's telling the truth? Huh? Detective Thana, are you trying to say that Miss Moko doesn't think she moved, but she did? No. I know that doesn't make a lick of sense. However... No, that's it. What is? A way to move people without them knowing it. We already know just how to do it. It was back and I was right. Although I did try to blame Hawes. I think I did try to blame Hawes at the beginning. Coordinate-based object transmission, baby! There was a way of moving Miss Moko with her none the wiser. We already know how it happened. No, it's not just that we know it either. One of us experienced it firsthand. What? Who has experienced it? That'd be me. What? Pandy, when? When do you think? You were there. What? I was there too? My ears hurt. For a bit more on the subject, shall we call in the person in question? For some reason, I have a feeling this case is going to take longer than I thought. We have it. We just don't have a motive for Beck. But with the whole thing of, like, the split of the founding members, I'm wondering if the victim wanted to go one way, Beck wanted to go another, but because the main dude won out and is running it, everyone was like, nope, fuck you. No, why'd you bring this in here? And on top of that, why'd you call him Mr. Beck? Because of course, if we wish to confirm our suspicions, we're going to need his help. Is that so? I'd be honored to help. It's an honor to be honored in turn, but on to business. Shall we discuss your skill, Mr. Beck? My skill? Don't you remember my showing it to you earlier? It's no problem showing you once more, but I would like to refrain from taking a beating once more. Yes, of course. Before, Mr. Beck, you used your skill to teleport our dear sergeant. I was teleported less than a meter, but it was so sudden that it took a moment to wrap my head around what just happened. Perhaps if he hadn't explained that he used his skill, I may have never known what exactly happened to me. Ah, then, that's the method you were talking about before. Mr. Beck, when we were taking Miss Moko's statement, we noticed one glaring peculiarity. Miss Moko said she never left lounge number 1, yet we found her prints in lounge number 2. Oh, that is rather peculiar. Is such a thing possible? It is. With your skill, you could have teleported Miss Moko from lounge 1 anywhere else, is that right? Indeed, you're quite right, dear boy. It's my own skill. I never imagined doing such a thing. Yeah, if I did teleport her to another room, wouldn't she notice due to the objects surrounding her? Normally, I'd say yes, however, this case is rather special. Lounge 1, where Miss Moko was staying, is almost identical to lounge number 2. So if you didn't take a careful look around, you'd never realize you'd been moved. But of course, there are differences. There is the picture frame on the table of lounge number 1. That isn't in here. That's why Moko said the picture suddenly disappeared. Right. That was after Moko had been moved to lounge 2. She had no idea she'd been teleported, so she thought the picture just disappeared. But it wasn't the picture that moved. It was Moko herself. Nine Beck? It was through your skill that it happened. Logic. What do you think, Mr. Beck? Care to explain yourself? Well, let's see. It seems there's been a misunderstanding. I feel like I've heard that before. This time I'm serious. I have no idea what happened to Miss Moko. He's going to plead ignorance. From what I gather, it's like this, yes? You found Miss Moko's fingerprints in lounge number 2, yet she never left lounge number 1. I don't want to have to say it, but don't you think she might just be lying? Moko gains nothing from lying about that. I have met many different people during my time at this facility. From that, I can tell you one thing. People don't only lie when it's in their best interest. For example, there are people like Mr. Hawes who avoid lying even when they have something to hide, and people like Miss Moko who lie out of habit. But of course, I believe that you investigators should know even more about that. In my professional opinion, wouldn't it make more sense to just say Miss Moko went in and out of lounge number 2? No, it wouldn't. But it's not like there's a 0% chance that happened. Nope, it's 0. It's simply impossible. She had gone in and out of the second lounge like you say. Well, have a look at this document. It'll clear things up. We don't need to explain to him. We need to just figure out his motive. We have enough proof. Where is launch number 2? No fingies! Mr. Beck, we took prints of the door handle in lounge number 2. That was rather quick work. You haven't even been here 1 full hour. We have a very professional investigator working that part of the case. What was that? Nothing. Yes. Well then. When you took those prints, didn't you find anything that supported Miss Moko's statement? No, quite the opposite, actually. There should have been a clue there, but we found nothing. Excuse me? Mr. Beck, if we were to leave this room right now, we would be forced to leave our prints in one specific place. Can you guess where that might be? I guess if we went through the door. I know the answer. On the doorknob. Ah, true. She's got your answer. And why is it Detective they know who's answering? Right. Normally when you go through a door, you leave finger or handprints when you turn the handle. So, what sort of person could go through a door without leaving prints? That would be... Hold up. Time out. And that would be a person who never left, or perhaps someone who was never there at all. But what if someone was in the room and is now gone? What would you say if they didn't leave any prints? You understand now, don't you? We didn't find Miss Moko's prints on the door handle. There was also no signs of her wiping them off. Yet somehow we lifted clear prints left by Miss Moko off the table. So how did she leave the room? She didn't walk out of the room, so what I'm thinking is that she was teleported out. What do you think about that, Mr. Beck? Perhaps I did do that. You did? But even if I did use my skill on Miss Moko, what would be the point? Well, that. What would be the point? I sometimes cannot read names. It's fine. Yeah, what would be the point? No, you just blurted that out without thinking what might come next. I know what I'm talking about. If something doesn't make sense to you, you might want to check out the statements once more. That's where you'll see a list of suspect actions. Yes, you're right. Mr. Beck used his skill to move Miss Moko. Miss Moko wasn't aware of moving from Lounge 1 to Lounge 2, so when she sent it to the left, it went to the office and not the feeding room. There may be something in her statement that brings meaning to such a move. I should take a look. Because she can't see. Sent it to eat at the feeding room to my left. If she's in Lounge 2, the office is to the left. Now I'm right. If we change where Miss Moko was, the statement suddenly takes on a completely different meaning. Oh, seriously? You already found something? Nope. This is for real, Miss Moko. This is no trivial matter. This feels like the deepest secret of the case we've uncovered. Far beyond anything we've found out thus far. I love this. I love that. Like such a... what are you getting at? When Miss Moko sends her creature to feed, she takes a seat in the lounge, then she sends the creature to the feeding area. When you're facing the lounge, that room's directly to the left. However, if she was in lounge number 2 without knowing where she was, do you see what that means? If she were to give her creature the same order and send it to the room to her left. What, then? If it went to the left... You! What have you done? Yes. The room to the left of there is the victim's office. That's the scene of the crime. Miss Moko sent her creature straight that way without knowing what she was doing. Then, it devoured everything in that room, just as it always does. Wait a second. Mr. Beck, by doing what you did, you took the life of the victim. Not with your own skill, but using the skill of someone else. Oh, wait, you've got the wrong idea. I have no idea what you're talking about. I certainly hope that's the case. Just thinking that a killer could use an innocent bystander as a tool for murder makes me sick. When the murder occurred, I was in my lab. That's what you said before. When we asked to investigate the interior of said lab, we made a deal with the Bureau to stop us in our tracks. If you continue to insist that's where you were, would you permit us to investigate the lab? You can't. You simply can't. This man is Shao Tucker in it, ain't he? After all, this is just a theory of yours, and this theory rests on the fact that you believe me to be the culprit behind everything. No, that's called literally all the clues lead to that. There isn't a random clue that is just left out in the open. If you believe I'm lying about being in the laboratory, isn't that the burden of proof on your shoulders, detectives? Tell me, if I really did use my skill on Miss Moko, where do you think I was exactly? Where do we think you were? You may have seen it on my bureau file, but my skill range is a measly 8 meters. If I did move Miss Moko from one lounge to the other, I couldn't have been far from her. In fact, there's nowhere I could have accomplished such feats. Don't tell me, you really don't believe I would be in the hallways with creatures ordered to roam around, do you? Even if you weren't in your laboratory, you couldn't have pulled off this crime, huh? You're right, I couldn't have. Then, what reason does he have for stopping us from looking around his lab? Alright, if we figure out a place where you could have committed the crime, that clears up whatever issues we may have, yes? There's a place Miss Moko's creature can't see, a place close to the crime scene that could be where Mr. Beck used his skill from. Shall I point it out to him? A place that fulfills all those conditions, the place Mr. Beck was hiding out. Okay. Hold on. Let me think. Okay. It's 8 meters. I think they feed it. Let me double check something. Because they feed at the same time, right? Because here's the thing. This is my issue. There's nothing here. Okay. I'm wondering if he was in, like, on the outside of lounge number 1, because how it's stated, she goes in, switches it, but the only thing, because, like, here's my question. Okay, so he can only move things up to a range of 8 meters. Wait, there's also the cabinet. Could he have been in the cabinet? I don't know. There's a part of me that wants to say... Because he can't use it on himself. So he can't switch places with her. So he couldn't have been in lounge 2 and swapped them. But how it's phrased here... Because if he was here... and moved her... Like, that's the only thing is, I'm like... Because this is 6 meters, he could have been in the office. Moved her, because how she phrases this... is... she goes to the lounge, then uses the skill. So once she's swapped, she moves him to the left. So if he was in the office... that's my only thing. Or if he's in this lounge. But if he was in the lounge, it would be 10 meters. So I kind of want to say the office. And then he leaves. That's my only guess. I'm not sold on it. Wait, hold on. Because the thing is, if he's in the feeding room, like, he's knowing it's not going there. Like, the creature's not going there. Because she's sending it to the room to the left. I'm not sold on this. But I also know that we have to use the map, so it has to be somewhere. It wouldn't make sense for him to be in 2 Unless it's the mammal one, because we don't... I'm just gonna brute force this. It's fine. Because I'm not sold on that. Like, it has to be here. Is it that? Okay, because it's... I'm so confused right now. Because it says here. Was he in the fucking drainage pipes? Oh my god, he was in the fucking drainage pipes. I can't read. I promise y'all. With the creatures roaming around, the halls would clearly be a dangerous place to be. There's no place to hide in either of the lounges, and your fingerprints aren't in either anyway. Plus, there's not a chance he was at the crime scene, so that means he wasn't on the first floor. It seems like you finally come to your senses. Speaking of the first floor, yes, what are you getting at? You know the answers to that already. If there are no hiding spots on the first floor, you could just hide under the tiles. Under the tiles? There's room under our feet? They have a system installed that washes away everything at a certain time every day. Thus, there's a drain in every room. So it follows that there has to be a drain pipe where everything flows out. You can even see it on the floor plan for the building. So that pipe is right under our feet. No one could catch you in there, and you'd have plenty of range for your skill. Mr. Beck, you were in the drain pipe at the time of the incident. From there, you teleported Miss Moko, and she took the life of your victim. Do you have proof? Proof? Proof that I was in the drains at the time you claim I was in there. Without such proof, your logic stands as mere hypothesis. We don't have proof yet, but it won't take long to investigate the drain pipe. I won't allow it. Huh? I'll reach out to the Bureau. I'll ask them to make the drains a restricted area. You cheeky bastard! Are you taking the piss? You see, our drainage system was constructed with great care, so you can't just go traipsing around down there. Then it seems I owe you an apology. Excuse me. You should have told me before. You see? I figured it was fine for people to go down there. No. Thankfully, it seems no notable damage has been done. If there's something in the matter, I'm sure the Bureau will see to you're properly compensated, so don't you worry. Detective Brian? No, wait, where are you? Note, down below. Down there. I think I can hear Brian's voice. Seriously? He's right under us? That bloke will do whatever you tell him to do. Skippy, get him out of there at once. Right away, sir. After all, I already found everything worth finding. Unfortunately for us, it sounds like he's left some clues, yes? That's right. The trace evidence on the floor was all swept away, but I have clear handprints on the ceiling of the drainage duct. The prints are from none other than Vice President Naeem Beck. Unfortunately for you, I think you'll be hard-pressed to come up with more excuses. Logic. Press enter to continue. Wait, do we not get any more? Or is that the branching path? Sergeant, how did you know things would turn out this way? Huh? I didn't. Eh? Then why did you? I didn't, but If there's a clear hidden passage to be seen, it's only right to search it, no? We are investigators after all. So, you sent me on here in a whim? So what if she did? You got what you wanted, right? Be that as it may. Seems like you usually get the short end of the stick, Detective Brian. Regardless, this case is closed, so let's report to the chief. It wasn't me. What's this now? We've proven everything we need proving. It's really nothing in the long run, only the trials I've been through. You don't have to believe me. You probably won't, but still, would you please listen to what I have to say? If you've got something to say, we won't stop you. It's true that I was in the drains during the time of the incident. However, I didn't go down there of my own free will. Huh? I don't actually remember going down there. When I came to, I was in the dark. I could clearly remember being in my lab, but then suddenly I was somewhere else. Then, right when I climbed out of that drain, I found out that my boss was dead. I fell into someone's trap. Someone's trying to frame me. Again, I think I brought this up in the beginning. Can Hawes control people? Because if he can control people, that would explain why his is SDN and Moko's is only a cult. Because even though her range is wider, if he can control humans, that's fucking sketch. That's fucking terrifying. Well then, shall we assume what you've said, that you've said your piece? Rather empty words, not worth hearing. But I'm the one in charge of interrogation, so even if he's giving excuses, I want to hear him out. After all, listening is all I'm good for. You think? Well, I guess you never know if a statement's worth listening to until you hear it. Right? But isn't there a single percentage of a chance that what Beck said is just said is true? Couldn't someone have knocked Beck out and dragged his unconscious body into the sewer? No. It was just a poor excuse to open his mouth. But my thing... Yeah, I'm starting to think that Hawes can actually control. Because when you think about it, when you look at how... We're gonna let him speak, and I'll go into it. No, tell Theta why what he said is impossible. This is our branching path. Sorry. I'm saving. That's our branching path. I already know it. Now, there's nothing left to investigate and nothing left to hide. Let's wrap this case up here and now. We should put a stop to these excuses. Next time. If y'all enjoyed, give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below. And next time, we will be hopefully showing both paths, because that's what I'm thinking. I'll see y'all then. Bye.